Now, we just talked children yesterday a little bit. Let's talk a little more since we've got an illegal alien we just took off the streets of Minneapolis that was someone engaged in child neglect and endangerment. Here in the U.S. Border Patrol, I will say unequivocally that we are experts in dealing with children. Let me say that again, experts in dealing with children. Not because we want to be, but because we have to be. Over those past 4 years, hundreds of thousands of children were trafficked across that border. Guess who they came into contact with? Sometimes who was the very first law enforcement agency or American citizen that they saw? U.S. Border Patrol, followed by our counterparts at Immigration and Customs Enforcement. We're definitely the experts at dealing with children, unfortunately. Hundreds of thousands under that last administration. Not to mention the 300,000 lost children, 300,000 plus lost children that were trafficked across that border. Now, when we've got the news media talking about children, I'd certainly love to hear more reporting on the 300,000 lost children. How about the 14 that we recovered at that pot farm a few months ago in Camarillo, California? The 14 lost children trafficked across the border that were found working illegally on a pot farm in California. Very little reporting from the Minneapolis news media here. I didn't really hear much from you guys. And then some of the more heinous crimes against children that are trafficked across the border that ICE and Border Patrol saw daily back when that border was out of control over those past 4 years. I'll detail one for you, folks, that's truly heinous. Border Patrol agents there in the El Centro sector encountered a young child, was approximately 3 years of age. The child appeared to be drugged, not with his parents, with strangers. Agents managed to wake the child up after doing what is known as a sternum rub, which is a technique to wake someone up that may be induced by drugs. As the child woke up, we understood the child's parents were not with him, and medical examination saw that this child had non-surgical sutures in his abdomen. Let me say that again. Non-surgical sutures in the child's abdomen. He was being trafficked across the border in that condition. That's not an isolated event with the U.S. Border Patrol or ICE. We saw that many, many times. Drug children coming across the border, and guess what? Other than a couple of news outlets, I believe News Nation and Fox reported, nobody else would. Nothing on a child with non-surgical sutures in his abdomen, and nobody knows why. Now, the 5-year-old yesterday, some of you had questions on the 5-year-old yesterday. That 5-year-old remains with his family. Let me say that again, remains with his family. We know that. That false media narrative that was pushed out yesterday it was false. It remains with his family. But let's talk about who doesn't remain with their family. And I think this is the most important thing that we're talking about with children. How about our victim of the day, a victim at the hands of illegal alien criminals, these same criminals that we are taking off the streets that you see on these screens behind us. This victim was Rachel Morin. She left behind 5 children. Let me say that again. She left behind 5 children after she was killed by an illegal alien from Central America. He decided to murder her and hide her body in a culvert. Oh, wait a second, that was after he raped her. She's separated permanently from her 5 children. Let me say that again, separated permanently from her 5 children. Why isn't that reported on? Very little reporting in the local news media or the news media on those types of situations. Now, I would call this the DSP syndrome. That's a term that I made up. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a Border Patrol agent. It's called the double standard phenomena. Say that again. The DSP is the double standard phenomena. We see this quite often, the DSP. American citizens that are arrested daily here in Minneapolis, are they separated from their children and families? Absolutely, as they should be. Criminals face consequences. Criminals face consequences. But yet that double standard does not seem to apply to illegal aliens. Why is that? Perhaps someone could detail that for me, because I don't quite understand all the parameters involved in the DSP, the double standard phenomena. So as we continue this mission here in Minneapolis, we will continue to take these bad people, bad things off the streets, despite the DSP, the double standard phenomena, despite the false narrative reporting by many news media outlets. We will continue unabated in our mission to ensure there are no more Rachel Morens separated from her 5 children. And I'll close by saying organizations, victims organizations, victims' rights organizations. What about the angel moms? That one's one that's never reported on. How many victims do you need before an organization like that pops up? It's not 1 or 2, I can guarantee you that. Look at MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, from back in the 80s and 90s. That organization popped up because a lot of children were getting killed by drunk drivers. Well, what about the angel moms now? How many victims of illegal aliens that should not be here in the United States are causing family separation for American citizens that's not reported on by most news media outlets? How many does it take? I'd like to ask, excuse me, PBS or CNN or any of the other outlets, how many? How many does it take? I'd love that question. There's another phenomenon there. I would love that question answered. But the fact of the matter is we do have angel moms, a lot of them, unfortunately. It's very heartbreaking to meet them, although they're not reported on very much. Heartbreaking. But we're here to ensure there are no more angel moms. We don't want more angel moms, and that's why Marcos and I are here, U.S. Border Patrol, ICE, and those allied law enforcement teams. We're going to take, again, these criminal aliens off the streets that you see behind us and that I've shown you this morning. We're going to take them off the streets wholesale. It's on. We won't quit. Thank you for your time this morning.